Hey guys, it's Cayley. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm an online reseller. I go to thrift stores and I flip items online for a profit. Every week I like to come on and do a what sold from last week video, which is pretty much just sharing my sales with you and showing you some items that you might want to look for while you're at your local thrift store. If you're interested in learning how to resell, I have tons of videos on how to get started, as well as some tips and tricks if you're already reselling. If you're not already, make sure to subscribe down below and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified as I make new content. But for now, let's talk about last week's sales. So first of all, are you guys feeling it? Because I am really feeling the pressure of summer slowdown. I feel like myself and my team have been listing extra and really putting in the work, but our sales are pretty much staying the same, which in summer slowdown is pretty much a good thing. However, I just feel like we are running in sand. Drop a comment down below, let me know if you're feeling it too. I'm still happy with the sales that we're making, and hopefully as we move into a busier season, those sales will explode and all the work that we're putting in now will pay off. But for now, let's dive into some of these sales. So these are all of my sales numbers between July 10th and the 16th, which is a Sunday through a Saturday. In total, you'll see that I sold 131 items for a gross sales total, meaning before any fees or any of my costs are taken out, are $3,858.91, making my average sale price $29.46. My estimated cost of goods was $424 for every single item that sold last week, making my estimated net $2,335.12. On eBay, I sold 89 items for just over $2,700, and then I sold 42 items on Poshmark for a little over $1,000. We're going to jump right into these sales. I do have a lot more eBay to show you, as that's where a majority of what I would consider to be on the lookout items sold on, but I do have a few Poshmark to show you at the end. The first item I wanted to share with you is a pair of men's Big Star jeans. I talk about BKE a lot, but if you guys aren't aware, Big Star is also a jean that is sold at Buckle. And so these Buckle Big Star men's jeans do way better than the women's, but some of the Big Star women's do good as well, but I personally stick to the men's, and these are a certain style called Pioneer, and you'll see them on the tag here. They're pretty identifiable because of all of their thick stitching. You can kind of see that displayed here. And if you look for that, you'll probably come across a pair of these jeans. So these Big Star Pioneer jeans, I paid $6.99 for. I was pretty confident in paying full price for them because they do have a really good sell-through rate. I listed them for $39.97, and they sold very quickly at my full asking price within about a week. Next up is a new pair of women's jean brand that I used to not pick up, and I don't know why, but they're Judy Blues, which they have like comfort pull-on ones, and you can see they kind of have almost junior sizing here. I found these ones new with tags, which is the entire reason I looked them up. After looking into it, I realized that Judy Blue, some of their styles actually have a pretty good following. So I picked this pair up. This was just a pair of black skinny fit pull-on jeans. Again, they were new with tags. I only paid 99 cents for them. I don't think that this is a brand that thrift stores are going to price up. I listed mine pretty high at $39.97, and they did sell for my full asking price within a couple of weeks. Next up is another pair of jeans. Got a lot of jeans in this video. These are actually a pair of vintage jeans. These are actually given to me for free by a family member. And when I say these have been put through the ringer, I mean it. There is a lot of damage on them, a lot of wear, simply because they are true like 90s Y2K jeans. So these are called Paco jeans. I definitely would not recommend picking up every pair of Paco jeans I find, but some of these vintage ones that have like interesting spell out details or certain pockets or see the zipper details on there can do really well. Even with all of this wear, which we made sure to include, they did sell pretty quickly for us. Again, I paid nothing, so it really wasn't too much of a risk for me. I listed mine for $39.97. It sold within a couple of weeks on an offer to watcher for $35.97, and I was pretty happy with that return on investment. Y2K stuff, 90s stuff is still doing extremely well, so keep your eye out for it. Some brands are doing better than what their modern counterparts, I guess you would say, are doing. but they're doing well in the Y2K and vintage styles now, so keep your eyes out for those. Next up is a Vineyard Vines men's polo. I love this brand in the men's department. We paid only $4.89 for this, and we listed it for $39.97. It did sell for a full asking price. This is called the Performance Polo, and it does extremely well, but especially in larger sizes. This one was a 4XL tall, so a pretty big size, and it was in really great condition. Again, this sold for my full asking price, and I paid very little for it. Really happy with that return on investment. This style has a really great sell-through rate. Next up is a brand I have mentioned in quite a few What Sold videos lately. It is Standard by James Perse. This is kind of like a minimalist, very classic, like staple wardrobe brand. Their clothing does feel pretty, I guess, high quality. It's not super thick or anything, but they do use like Pima cottons, sometimes linens and other things like that. But in general, it's a pretty good brand to pick up in both men's and women's. I got this one because it was a women's new with tag t-shirt. I paid only $3.99 for it, and it did sell for my full asking price of $39.97, which it is new with tags, but that's really good for a t-shirt. Next up is a men's pair of Aloe Yoga shorts. I emphasize men's because usually I only find this brand in women's, and I actually up until recently did not know that they made men's clothing, but I'm telling you now, Aloe or Aloe Yoga, as a lot of people know it, does make men's clothing, and it actually does really good. These are a pair of pre-owned what were called revival shorts. They were kind of just a loungy, like pull-on workout short. Pretty versatile. I paid $2.35 for this. It sold for my full asking price of $39.95. This did take a couple of months to sell. And this was probably my favorite sale of the entire week, simply because I took such a risk on this item. I paid $4.89, which is what my t-shirts are currently priced for at regular Goodwills. This was vintage. I could tell because it was single stitch, and it was just a risk because it was really hard to see the graphic. It was super faded. We made sure to notate that in the description, but as you can see from the pictures, really hard to tell what this is. I was able to make out that it said New Wave here on the back. And then I was also able to make out that the front graphic said something about Ask the Angels. And so with that information, I was able to figure out that this was a vintage band tee by an artist called Patti Smith. Now, this is what I would consider kind of a niche item because there's not very many of them for sale. And as many as have sold were as many as were listed. It was just a very small amount. So anytime that happens, in my opinion, it can be a risk to pick up items without a lot of comp information, but if the sell-through rate's there, I will definitely take a chance on it, especially when it comes to band tees. As you can see, this one is super, I wouldn't call it distressed, but it is super faded, and the graphics definitely, you can barely tell it's there. But I made sure to list it as is. Again, I paid $4.89. It sold immediately for my full asking price of $39.97. I hope that the buyer gets this and loves this. I'm glad that I took a chance on it, but just wanted to say sometimes risks pay off. And next up is one of my favorite men's brands to find, but I don't find it very often. It is called Bird Dog. And it's actually a little bit hard to find sometimes. Sometimes it does say it on the back like this one does, but sometimes all you have is this on the inside, which to me, if I didn't know this brand, I would just look at and go, the brand is Boom, right? Because it looks like the brand is Boom. But then you can see down below, the website is actually birddogs.com, and this is actually the brand, is Bird Dogs. Now, this brand sells some really nice activewear stuff, and I think they also do like a activewear khaki kind of thing. Regardless, they sell some really good menswear items, and I had an extra large, which helped to up the value, men's pair of nylon shorts. I paid $4.89 for this. I listed it for $40. It sold on an offer to watcher for $36. Next up is one of my favorite athletic wear brands to sell. We've been picking up a lot of this lately. It is Athleta, and I always say if it has the style name under, that's usually a good indicator that it is a style worth picking up. These were called the Cabo Linen 4-inch short. Linen obviously adds value as well, has a pretty good sell-through rate. I actually got these at the bins. I've noticed a lot of resellers don't pick up Athleta. I don't know why. I think it's a fantastic brand to pick up. In a lot of styles, I try to stick to their more substantial bottoms and their newer styles, but even some of the tops do pretty good for us. I paid probably about $1 at the bins just because they were so super lightweight with them being linen and them being shorts. And they sold on an offer to watchers for $35, which is great for a pair of pre-owned shorts. And here is another Athleta piece. Again, an example of a good style to pick up. We always do our research, which is why you'll almost always see the style name in the title. These are also size extra small, which makes it a little bit harder, in my opinion, to sell, just being a smaller size. But I did the comps. It was there. These were called the Ultimate Stash Pocket Printed Capri. And we put marbled as a keyword. We paid $4.89 for this, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $32. If you're not picking up Athleta, I promise you there are some really good pieces that are worth getting. This is another one I took a chance on. This is One September, which is an Anthropologie brand. I usually stay away from this brand just because it doesn't typically perform well, but I really like the factors going on with this one. This was a dress. It was pretty casual, almost like a shirt dress, but it had all this beautiful multicolor embroidery, and I thought it was just very trendy. So I picked it up regardless of comps for $4.89. It sold for my full asking price of $29.94, and this took about 3 months to sell. Next up is another men's brand I love picking up. This is Travis Matthew. I usually only sell his stuff for about $25, which is about what I got for this, but it is a consistent seller. It sells really well in both the polos and the shorts, and this is just kind of like a golf kind of brand, activewear brand. These were the 11-inch inseam golf shorts, and you'll see we put some keywords like flat, front, 5-pocket, and sport. We picked these up for $3.99, and they sold on an offer to watchers for $26.95. This is a brand that I pick up in almost everything. I've heard a lot of resellers talk about Eileen Fisher a lot lately, how they only pick up certain things. I pick it up in almost everything if it's in good condition. These are just a pair of pull-on dress pants. They kind of are just a plain style and not really any notable materials, but they still sold. Like I said, I just have really good luck with this brand. I paid $4.99 for this. We listed it for $26.83, and it did sell for our full asking price. Next up is a men's graphic t-shirt. I love anytime I can find a men's graphic t-shirt that sells for $25 and up because I will pick them up all day long. They're so easy to list. I know what all of the drop downs are for listing it, so it just makes it super easy. Lucky Brand has quite a few t-shirts that I would say fall under this. This was a size extra, extra large, and it had a barbecue, like pig feast kind of graphic on it, which I thought was really cool. Also a burnout look, which helped to add value. We paid $3.50 for this, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $26.96, and it took about a month to sell. This was a brand I don't normally pick up. It is Abercrombie & Fitch. You really got to be careful with this brand because only certain things sell. And I don't normally pick up their dresses, but this was very on trend. Somebody mentioned using the word milkmaid in this, which I definitely added down below in the description, but I probably should have put it into the title. That would have been a great keyword to use on this, but we chose baby doll, and it was a linen blend and a mini dress, but the puff sleeves, just the whole cut of it, and even this like grandma core floral, I thought was really good. So we used all those keywords down in the description box, but I picked it up simply off of style. I paid $4.99 for it. It did end up selling for my full asking price of $24.96, But when I listed this on both eBay and Poshmark, I got a ton of people asking me about it. I mean, I had a lot of watchers, I had a lot of likes on Poshmark. People were going crazy for this dress. So keep that in mind as you're shopping. It's not always about the brand. Sometimes it's about the style. Here's another James purse. This one is a pre-owned men's. The first one I showed you was a new with tag women's. This one is a standard James purse men's, just basic v-neck t-shirt, and it's still sold for $25. I'm just so impressed by this brand. It has a really good following. I paid $4.89 for this. It sold for my full asking price of $24.97. So again, if you're not already, keep your eye out for this brand. People get really heated when I share this brand, but this is Knox Rose. We come across it often. We sell it often. It has a really good sell-through rate for us. I picked this one up because it was new with tags. We talk about not picking up smaller sizes in this brand usually, but I got this one because it was new with tags and it had that embroidery detail. I paid $4 for this, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $25.15. Yes, this is like a Walmart, Target, Kohl's brand, maybe all three of them, I don't know, but it performs really well. I would try to stick to the larger sizes. I would try to stick to the more bohemian pieces, but I'm telling you guys, this brand performs really well. And one of my most exciting sales, probably my most profitable, were these LL Bean. They were called the Warm Feelings blankets. They actually had tags on them with a lot of information here. And LL Bean blankets and houseware perform extremely well for me. I don't come across them often, but when I do, I almost always pick them up. I came across each of these for, I think it was about $5 to $6 each. In total, I paid $11.98 for the set of two of them. They were matching. They were in really great condition, no flaws. I meant to have our lister list them as a single with a quantity of 2, but she accidentally listed them as a set of 2, and I thought, you know what the heck, let's give it a try and see if it sells, and I just kind of doubled the price. It ended up selling on a best offer for $175, and I think it only took about a month to sell, which is pretty crazy because, you know, we're in warm weather. People don't really need fleece wool blankets right now, but I guess they do. So keep your eye out for LL Bean linen wear. Some of these vintage blankets can do really, really good. Obviously, I would definitely check for holes, especially if it is wool, but yeah, that was a really great sale, $11.98 into $175. This was something I bought off of somebody locally. I paid $10 for this. This is a Free People in collaboration with CP Shades. I love Free People. I love CP Shades. In collaboration, they do really good. This was a linen hoodie. It was called the Alex hoodie and had really great comps. So I paid a little bit up for this from somebody locally, like I said. I paid $10. It sold on an offer for $60, which in my opinion is a great return on investment. These are the kind of pieces that I'm willing to pay up for. On the other side of that, I paid $0 for this one. I got these from the same person I got those Paco jeans from, and they are true like vintage 90s Y2K jeans, and we probably should have made this the cover photo, but they still sold, so you know, I'm not going to be too upset with myself. These, again, same thing as before. There were holes, the hem was cut off. I mean, they did have significant wear, but like I said, you know, I had $0 invested into this, so it wasn't, you know, any issue for me to try to sell these. I listed them pretty high at $69.97. Had they not had all of those falls, I would have listed them probably over $100, but because they did have such significant wear, I listed them for about $70. Same thing as the Abercrombie dress, a ton of watchers immediately. Like, I had all kinds of people contacting me about this, so I held out on my pricing. I ended up sending offers to watchers, and there were a lot of watchers, so it ended up selling pretty quickly. It sold for an offer to watcher for $62.97. And again, guys, I just can't emphasize enough, these had like so much wear to them, but they were Jinko jeans. If you guys come across these, I think especially this twin cannon, they can do really, really well. I would definitely make sure to include vintage or Y2K or something like that in your title if you come across them. And I would recommend showing the embroideries on the back because I think that would have helped to sell it even better. Next is a bins pickup. I took a little bit of a chance on. I really like selling leather jackets. I think a lot of people pass on them at the bins and at the thrift stores. A, at the bins because they're just too heavy and they cost too much, and then B, at regular thrift stores, they're pricing them pretty high, but I really like picking them up. I'll even pay up for some if I know that they're going to sell for more because leather just holds its value. This was called Vertical by Robert Comstock. When I looked this up, it had a decent following, but it wasn't 100% sell-through rate, I'll say that. But I took a chance on it because we were getting it at the bins. It was a little heavier, so I probably paid about $5 for this. But I listed it for $49.94. It took a few months to sell, but it did sell for my full asking price of about $50. Here's another LL Bean item. I paid up for this as well. I paid $9.99 for this, and it sold for my full asking price of $39.96. I did expect these to sell for about $40 to $50. These are called the LL Bean men's bean boots. Here you can see it on the back. They are like a pair of duck boots. Now when you look these up, the LL Bean men's bean boots, they actually don't have the best comps, but I was thumbing through them and realized that these more vintage ones were doing well. So sometimes it really depends on where they're made, you know, what the insoles look like. These were the USA made, and so they were performing pretty good. So I got my full asking price for those. It was a pretty quick flip, but some of the LL Bean men's shoe wear can perform really good. This is one of my favorite brands to sell, especially during spring and summer, just because they make a lot of bright multicolor patterns. So they fly off the shelf. It is J. McLaughlin. They're very similar to Lilly Pulitzer. So if you think you've caught a Lilly Pulitzer, you might have caught a J. McLaughlin. This one, I don't think we could find the exact style name for, but sometimes you can. We went ahead and listed it anyways with just some really good keywords. We paid $4.99 for this, and it sold for a full asking price of $44.96. In my opinion, this brand and Lilly Pulitzer really hold their value when it comes to dresses, and so I really love picking them up. Let's move over to some of the Poshmark sales and finish up with those. As I said, I do have a lot less Poshmark sales, but still some pretty good ones. This one is a Girlfriend Collective, which if you're not familiar is an excellent athletic wear brand to sell, especially in larger sizes. This is the Girlfriend Collective pair of shorts, size extra large. And I pretty much pick up everything in this brand regardless of size, but especially the larger sizes do well. I paid $4.69 for them, and they sold on an offer for $30. Next up is something I picked up just based on quality and a couple factors involved. This is the brand Born. A lot of people know Born BOC, but these are actually Born shoes, which it's hard to tell here, but they just say Born. They don't say BOC and they don't say Born of Concept. The Born brand is higher quality than the BOC typically, and these are the Born Crown Roxy crinkled leather boots. Some of this Born stuff, I definitely come across it all the time. I pick up almost none of it, but anything Born really high quality leather or really substantial leather, I absolutely pick up. I actually was so confident in these that I paid really high for them. I paid $9.99. And I accepted an offer of $40. This stuff is going to start selling, guys, so keep your eye out for boots right now. But it's, again, not always about the brand. Some just high quality leather stuff does good, so I picked these up just based off of the feel of the leather. And next up is another brand I would definitely keep your eye out for, especially moving into winter and fall. It is Talbot's. Now, I do have a few rules with these. I do try to stick to the larger sizes, and I do try to stick to more classic pieces or better fabrics. In this case, it is the fabric and the size. So this was a size 2X petite. It was a merino wool blend cardigan, and I actually picked this up during warmer weather and expected to sit on it, but to my surprise, it sold for $40 on Poshmark right now. I paid $4.69 for this. If you're passing Talbot's, you're missing out. There is a really big following for this. Speaking of Lily Pulitzer, this is a Lily Pulitzer dress. It's definitely not typical of Lily Pulitzer. I found 2 of these. If you're on my Instagram, you probably saw me share both of these. I had this tan one and then I had a blue one, and they were both new with tags. I could not believe it. I found it at Goodwill. I paid $4.99 for each of them. You can see the retail price is $238. Crazy. So I was really happy to pick both of those up. It's kind of a beachy with some embellishments on it. This was called the Fia dress in Sand Dune. I think I already sold the blue one, and this was the last one I had left. Again, I paid about $5 for it, and it sold for $75. Could not be happier with that sale. This is an interesting brand to pick up. In my opinion, it does better during the fall and winter. This is Lawrence Kazar, and they retail for quite a bit. This one, let's see, this is $110 retail, but I do like even picking them up pre-owned. They are a more mature brand, and a lot of their Christmas stuff does really good, but I pretty much pick them up all the time because even though they do take a little bit longer to sell, in my opinion, it always does sell, and it always sells for a great return. So I picked this one up because it was new with tags. It had organza and beading, so it helped to kind of up the value. Again, this is more of a mature brand, so just keep that in mind as you're going through it. It's not typically something that I would look for, but I just know about this brand. So I paid $6.99 for it, and it sold on an offer for $38. I've sold a Lawrence Kazar beaded Christmas cardigan for over $100 before, so I would definitely look for this brand. I've sold even some of their more plain stuff. I really like that one. This is a men's piece I sold. This is Nat Nast. I haven't come across one of these in a while, but they're kind of like Tommy Bahama, where basically just their silk shirts are like the bolo in this brand. Everything else, for the most part, is no good. So Nat Nast men's silk shirts do extremely well. I would not pick up anything else in this brand, but silk shirts perform fantastic. We miss the keyword in this, but a lot of times we use rockabilly with these shirts. It's a good keyword to pair with these in case you come across one or have one that's been sitting. We paid $4.39 for this, and it sold for an offer of $38. And finishing up with our last sale, this is a lower price sale, but I wanted to share it. This is just a J. Crew women's chambray button-up shirt. This one was new with tags, but I also pick up pre-owned J. Crew chambray shirts in both women's and men's, and they perform extremely well. I never have a problem moving J. Crew men's or women's chambray button-up shirts. I can even sell the pre-owned ones for $25 most of the time. So I wanted to share that with you. That is kind of a bread and butter that I pick up. I'm just going to say it works for me. The comps might not be there, but it sells for me every time. So J. Crew chambray button-up shirts. Chambray is just this denim look without actually being that thick, heavy denim. I paid $4.99 for this, and it sold for $25. If there's anything that you guys have been doing to kind of combat summer slowdown, make sure and drop those in the comments down below. Let's help each other out. One thing that's really worked for us lately is just selling lower priced items, which is not typically something that I like to do. I'm just going with it. So we're selling stuff for a lot less than we used to. We are accepting a lot more offers, probably quicker than we normally would, but it's helping to keep those sales rolling until we get into a busier season where people are willing to buy higher priced items. Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Again, if you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell down below. If you like this video, you can give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.